Okay, just 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay, yes,
So we are recording, and this is the
yes,
first conversation. I'll do a little intro for our watchers.
okay,
This is the very first full 3D sight and sound conversation I've had with my friend Debesh. We've known each other for 5 years, and we'll talk a little bit more about that because it's kind of a history-making occurrence. And it's really interesting that we've established trust and vulnerability and have learned so much about each other. And I have now estimated probably 1,000 commenting conversations. So we're sort of virtual strangers in the sense we think about humans, but he and I have exchanged so much text and have spent therefore so much time becoming friends that I can sort of take over a little bit and do a little intro as a TV host. This is not quite the conversation you might expect from a philosopher, right? And a PhD, but we're actually creating entertainment.
yes,
This is sort of Andy Warhol's prediction. I don't need a production studio. I don't need any permission. I believe that it's so valuable for me to have a conversation with my friend that 7 or 8 more people might want to listen to it. And in that value, this is what I'm saying about when we're doing comments. If you're not making friends or having an intellectual discussion, you're wasting your own life force. And I know that anything we say to each other, because now we've got, so much material, and we'll just get to the very salient ones today in an hour. But I'd like to introduce my friend and have him tell about when he conceived of the concept of influencers. Over to you, Debesh.
thank you very much, Deb. We can admit that the concept of influencer has been done by Jeffrey Strickland, and we are very grateful to him because he has brought that word from the very orthodox dictionary, which were not in use earlier, mostly. But later I found that the meaning is quite interesting, and maybe we can slightly change the meaning and adapt it for our own good relationship in the platform like LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And yes, and his first article that who are the influencers described everything what is behind this influencer, and you have experienced all the things which happened then.
Yes.
So you can also detail slightly from your part.
Yeah, well, so it's very interesting. The context was summer 2015 is when Debesh had the concept, and then he and Jeffrey Strickland sort of made an official group on LinkedIn. And I had not used any social media prior. I decided I wanted to be an interview coach. How do I make money? I'm good at talking, and I've got this gift for interviewing. Didn't even know that, because it was pretty much every job interview I went to as a software consultant, I got the job. So I just had a little confidence about that. So I decided if I have to do social media, it must be LinkedIn. I hated it. I absolutely would not have stuck around if it wasn't for Bridget Hyacinth. So the LinkedIn phenomenon of Bridget Hyacinth is part of our group. And she will, if you can get to her, she's probably booked now through like 2030. But we can explain in a human way how she achieved what she achieved, which is world changing. A Black woman in the Caribbean invented a brand new way to be an influencer with her own hard work. And she did not do it look, I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but it's again that you and I entirely know exactly what I'm talking about. Two people, you're in Calcutta, I'm in Seattle, Washington, that we have established sort of like a long time friendship. Like you might think we might have met in college, that you don't have this, that this is again exactly. The first conversation.
Yes.
But I know I can just keep going really fast because we're recording this on video. So we can have a video engineer. We both understand it's like,
what happened?
We are participating in history, and we have been for 5 years.
Yes.
The history of uniting the globe. We were pioneers in how, pioneers in how, so what's going to happen? Humanity is going to be better because of COVID-19.
Yes.
97% of Earth does not have this mentality that me and my friend of 5 years have. You can call both of us Deb, and I'm going to let him explain what that means.
Yes. I don't know what Deborah means in your like English and other languages, but in my case, it is Devesh means Deb means God, and I don't know whether Deborah also means similar.
So it's very interesting. I was taught, so the limitedness of American education, okay, I was taught that Deborah was a judge in the Bible. Only 2,000 years of history we got going there. Like that's just a new, street meaning.
Okay.
When Bibi occurred, I was much more broadly global in my thinking. I was older. I took a little look, and it's Hebrew.
Yes.
For bee.
Okay.
The Hebrew word for bee is Deb.
Oh.
Or Deborah, or again, some of the letters and spellings. But yes. Cross-pollination. This is essentially what a philosopher does. Is what I have done is have learned like your specialty and Jeffrey's specialty and been a software consultant. So I know knowledge very broadly. So as a philosopher, I use the tools of just reasoning, just if, then, therefore. So very uniquely, I feel, especially in America, I didn't waste a second of my time consuming trash media. Yes. I also didn't spend any time on peer pressure, clearly. That if this performance, and that I'm so excited, and we've only talked for 10 minutes, but we could stop it because we've changed the world. And this is worth figuring out how to share with the right leaders.
Okay.
So that they could kind of see humanity's going to be okay.
Yes.
But, so I'll be quiet for a second. You.
Okay, and it is interesting to come to know about the word Deborah and its origin. And anyway, I found many other words also, like because we are a part of the same globe, languages grow from many places, and it transcends from here to there, and there are links. And now we speak English. That is the easy language for many people of the world. And we can, of course, get rid of our whatever past which are bad. We can just look forward for a better things in the future. And even in the present crisis, what is happening? I read that in 1918 or 1920 also, similar crisis happened. But I found there were many other crises which happened in between, like even 2 years ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. These are just example of how the citizens of the world, they are actually spoiling the world.
I'm going to have to jump in because I have a practical example that anybody around the globe can verify this reference on LinkedIn.
Yes.
So I wrote a post last Saturday discussing somebody who's explaining that the coronavirus problem is not going to end soon. The Atlantic article. Simultaneously, there's a connection I had who I'd never spoken to before, but we're both in Seattle. He's a music guy. He wrote one of his very first posts talking about his experience being an at-home father. So he's now raising the 3 kids, and his wife is out working. She does something in medicine, it's escaping me, so she's an essential worker. So he's now an African father in America. He wants to start a podcast. Look at
Oh.
me promoting those real human hearts across the whole globe.
Yes,
That LinkedIn enabled this, and they've harmed me. Like, I couldn't make a living because LinkedIn doesn't work well, but yet
Yes.
I continue to use it to make global friends. So back to Simon Okello. He's
Yes.
a Kenyan in Seattle, and his article was talking about cholera outbreaks in Kenya. And he had a picture of masks, and I'm linking to his article. So all of the people, again, not quite understanding the breadth of what this virus is going to do
Yes.
in terms of infecting humanity, of randomly subjecting any one of us to death. We just don't have a reliable science on how this thing has evolved. It's deadly, but we haven't filled in any of the details. So we must be asking and making every decision going, it's deadly and we don't know why. The problem is we think we know why. All of the biochemistry, all the virologists, they're not asking the philosophical questions about this, is that we still can't say every single one of us might die.
Yes.
That we don't have a reliable shield. So therefore, every decision means we figure out how to unite as a globe, because again, my country's fucking up. And we're not going to be out of this soon because there's no leadership. And I have a solution for that. So this is May 5th. It's Cinco de Mayo. Let's bring another cultural reference in here. And I have over the weekend done a video, broadcast date time stamped on YouTube, where I make a philosophical hypothesis of the best possible Democratic ticket for President of the United States of America. So here I am again, making a little bit of history in another genre. It's Clinton Obama.
Okay.
It is Hillary Michelle 2020.
Oh.
These power families can figure out how to beat Trump with the heart and for the good of the country, right? This would be a personal sacrifice, but it's also something the American, not just the American people, the global people. Here I am again getting global confirmation.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot to object to. But as soon as we start objecting in our minds, we want to go, we've lost the thought that this is really the best solution. It's a solution that everyone can go, I know those people, I know what they're about. They did not advise anyone to drink bleach at any time in decades of being in the public eye. They've never committed attempted murder, as 45 did. I would like to know, America, why someone has not legally went after him for attempted murder in public to the nation, and the globe knows about it. America's shit is out in all 7.8 billion people's mind.
Yes, all are linked.
So, the thing is, of course, me and my talk with my friend, who I said maybe 7 or 8 people might be interested in, and that's the truth. We do not, what we're achieving here, we don't want this is not like for a mass consumption in the way that America has created the need for mass consumption of media. This is a targeted message to a real global leader, somebody who can actually stand up and say, the world depends on America not fucking up.
Yes.
Because of the financial systems, because the whole internet, right? The internet will stop if America fails.
Yes.
But forget about our girl creating the internet. Deb is saving the internet.
Yes.
Debesh, would you please explain what I just said in your words?
Yes, I understand that when the power is centralized, almost centralized, and the power people who are holding the power, they are not properly utilizing it. They are not looking at the sustainability of the globe, and it happens that sometimes they are also in a soup. But they are so foolish that when they are just going out of their control, they are saying that they are great and they are doing the better things, and they almost solve every problem, and though it is not yet understood what is that now the crisis is for corona or whatever. It is very small amount people could know by research in medical community or the other community which are linked to research of coronavirus. So it is a power hungry people. They thought that everything is under control and they are utilizing this fact for their political gain.
Yeah.
They are trying to make it a political agenda. So it is happening everywhere. Like it is a small country, means it is a less powered country, India, but I am not surprised that it is also behaving the same.
Okay.
Behaving the same because they are actually utilizing it as a agenda for their political gain.
Yeah.
People here, the people are exposed to all sorts of germs because you know that India, it is not very clean.
Right.
Daily we are exposed to so many virus and other things which are helping us to get our antibody powerful. Like maybe I
if I could
suspect,
interject, if I could
yes.
just 1 second.
Yes.
In my opinion, when you said dirty, what I thought of was the man-made pollution, the toxic chemicals of industrialization. So
Yes,
I just want to say that there are two meanings to that word, and that I know that people who are looking at my reaction are going into a different mode perception of India. And I want to bust that prejudice, that what we're actually talking about, because viruses co-evolved with humanity for a very long time. They have become so deadly, we can't keep co-evolving with them because of the products, the byproducts of industrialization. The man-made pollution that, again, my country wants to dispute is not the problem. The reason that India and China are really and again, we don't know this in America, but they're having just as much chronic disease problems as we are. Okay, we talk about, and it's for us, it's obesity, again, poster child. But really, the man-made pollution is the dirt that is killing the earth. So back to
Yes, no, maybe here we can say that industry is very less. So the pollution is not exactly directly from the industry, like in China, but the pollutions are also synthetic, like say from plastics, polythenes and other things. But of course, there are some organic germs, like we are exposed to so many kinds of virus. Mostly the majority of the population of India are poor. So the poor people are already having the antibodies. Maybe that is why when I go to the market, means in our place, all wet markets are open. And it is, you can imagine or you may not imagine exactly how much it is very, you are very insecure, like there is no control of social distancing. Like when we go to the market, it is full of crowd.
Yes.
But I am not surprised that I am not having the symptom. Maybe I have coronavirus. If I test it, I will get that I have, but I don't have a symptom because I am exposed to the virus, many types of virus. So I have some antibodies which can probably fight. And maybe our politicians are also happy that the poor people are safer than the rich people in our country.
You know, I do actually believe that apart from one major mind virus, financial stress, that the poor people are better equipped. Okay, so if again, those of us in the tech world, the tech billionaires, could get this message. I mean, I'm right here with Gates and Bezos. They're my neighbors. If this conversation is the sort of thing that we keep from circulating, because it's basically very, very robust information that again would be used for harm just simply because that's the way the world's been socialized. But between the two of us, we're going to ensure that we're going to find heart people, people who live with love, Logic plus love intertwine. Now, when my friend said he's got a little bit of concern of whether he might have, you have any symptoms, I got you, okay?
Yes.
So now I've just startled the entire American population. Well, there's some sound healers, but I'm now in where I have really done a lot of work, presidential nomination. I've explained an awful lot as a philosopher, as a well-being philosopher. Now I'm going woo-woo. In America, we're all about quackery. I've been accused of peddling snake oil on BB.
Oh, okay.
That's a whole, that's a personal in-joke, y'all. And we're keeping this pretty universal. But the tuning forks,
Okay.
it's simply the coherence of the electromagnetic wave frequency
Okay.
allows our whole body to be optimized electrically.
Okay. Okay.
And then it can prioritize the virus.
Okay.
That's, again, I said earlier, we co-evolve with the virus. Humans and viruses have all been
Okay.
co-evolving. So there's some, we have a history dealing with viruses. What has changed and made them so deadly are the conditions of our civilization. We're not co-evolving naturally as we did when we lived more in tribes, when we lived more without being just up in our brain. We got into the phase of evolution, we went too much in our brain and we ignored our bodies.
Okay.
So I'll stop talking again.
Yes. Okay. Maybe we can move slightly towards influencer again, or some other things.
Yeah. What would you like to talk about?
Yes. Slightly about the influencer and about how people can interact more positively to live organically without problems.
Again, the core reason we're here is to play games with other humans. And conversation is a game. But we started changing the rules where we said competition and judging grammars, and then languages all split apart. And then it became impossible to just wander up to another human and play the game of conversation, which is really sort of one of the core things about being alive and being human. And so the influencers was a place where I started just walking up to other humans across the globe from anything, and they were writing articles on it with a professional perspective that were very human based. So there was a lot of, here's how my career failed me, and then I hurt my family, or here's how my job really hurt me, and then I hurt this other person. These were the themes of the stories that people can go back on LinkedIn and go to the influencer group. Perhaps at some point we'll get someone in LinkedIn to give us a little bit better search capacity for, this happened fall 2015, folks.
Yes.
So
yes.
About 5 years ago, certain of us humans, without our knowledge, right? We weren't doing this intentionally, but we formed global bonds of communication, of skillful professional level communication, so that there's now a level of trust that we can hop on these Zooms and start recording messages that we can share with 1, 2, 3 other humans. That matters because the real riches are where we invest our time. And we're demonstrating in this conversation precisely what that means to have wisely invested your time on social media. Is that this kind of conversation between two humans who've never spoken before, who've just typed together. But I am taking over as Socrates when I have this wise, esteemed, learned man who, next conversation, I'm gonna let him control. But because I sort of am the philosopher, and I am in America seeing how dire the situation is, and knowing that humanity's really at stake. I have taken a screen print of what was on LinkedIn as I waited for Debesh to join the call. Disney is almost ready to be bankrupt.
Oh, I see.
Walt Disney is one of the most powerful brands, and it's let me actually go to LinkedIn. Let me read just a little what it says. So let me go to Firefox. Virus is pushing Disney to the brink.
Okay.
That is one of those special things on. Let me actually read more of them. United Airlines to cut management. World leaders pledge $8 billion to vaccine. I'm still trying. The world leaders, $8 billion on a vaccine. Oh, I've got to do one more Tuning Fork promotion. There's the coronavirus official updates. Colleges, today's news. Colleges are making plans to reopen. Obviously, that's in the crazy US of hypocrisy. Gold's Gym files for Chapter 11. California asks feds for more funding. I don't know how come they don't have me in this one. 19 hours ago, how to make decisions in a crisis. And then the final news ticker from LinkedIn that I have a screenshot of that happened on May 5th, 2020. US to borrow $3 trillion, largest sum ever.
Oh.
All right, y'all, do you see, first off, Deb Helfrich. And she's simply thinking philosophical. The problem is the reason all of those horrific stories are there, and they're all being reported in on silos. And those leaders will only keep their jobs if they keep their own organization alive.
Yes.
Right now, human attention is simply being misdirected to keep organizations and concepts. We're fighting for the fucking economy. The economy is a concept that is an academic, collaboration. There's no, the economy does not exist on Earth outside the imaginations of humans.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm going to ask my friend Debesh to join my board of wisdom. And I've just asked Deborah Lang, and perhaps, maybe Cheryl Snap Connor, we can get Jeffrey. Who do we give this discussion to? I mean, this discussion is worth really caring, smart people. This is why it's the first episode. It's the first episode of #Deeper with Deb. There may not be very many more because I might need to stop just giving away the key to solving all of the chaos of the virus, making the world better. So I'm not just saying, I could, no, you can't go back. There's no normal. Here's another big quote. This is the first time I've said it. Precedent has left Earth. If you start thinking and you reference how you thought about how things had to happen on Earth, you're going to make a wrong decision. You now need to be creatively analytical. You have to invent a new solution. And you have to say, how do I keep humans alive? This is again where what I'm saying, and just simply my playing with language. And my ability is I used LinkedIn as my training ground. I'm basically just what was coming to me. But the algorithm, I was kind of creating it. I got rid of all the noise, and I would stop following even people who I had friendly comment conversations on if they pollute my newsfeed. I needed my newsfeed to keep me abreast of really important signals.
Yes, yes.
I thought for my career, right? I did it astutely. I was trying to make a living because I've been living in self-quarantine for the last decade.
Yes, yes.
This is a personal part of this story. I mean, she's so crazy smart, but she was so unfortunately compromised by chronic disease for the last decade that I've been in self-quarantine. I basically go out to get food. I could occasionally go out and do something, but I very rarely did. I didn't get invited. People left me in my home by myself dealing with my disease. I had to get a marriage proposal over the goddamn Google Hangouts. This is a really interesting story because I've been surfing human potential. I've been, as a philosopher and as somebody challenged with the chronic disease burden of contemporary life, I've been simultaneously making a living while looking at all of the data that's coming out about neuroscience and about how to heal chronic disease, and about these 5 years we are all now so trauma informed, I'm going from one to the other, like the internet's just sending it at me. So I didn't have a rational 1, 2, 3, 4 plan of learning. It was just what happened. But I very mindfully got rid of shit. There's so much noise. I mean, so this is a skill that I think I can teach through the Wellbeing Philosophy Institute, that I am seeking financial support to create. My plan right now is to offshore it, because America's crumbling, and to base the Wellbeing Philosophy Institute in Jamaica. I got people there. So I think that Jamaica, being an island nation, is going to be one of the bright spots of the future, especially if like Sandals just comes and lets me stay there, because there's nobody paying to stay. They got plenty of rooms. Sandals can just bring me over. Yes. Look at this. Look at me inventing promotional opportunities to make sure that nothing happens to me. Because that, if I can keep having these kinds of conversations, making this kind of televised programming for people who have to buy in, they're going to have to put their money where their ears are to sort of listen to this level of, here's how to get in your creativity. You must be well, stay well, get well, mentally fit. Because as I just said, precedent has left Earth. We're recreating things that nothing exists. Yes. I mean, that's a very existential, Jean-Paul Sartre, Simone de Beauvoir kind of, but it really doesn't, you see. Life exists. So this is, again, God is dead, art is dead, and how you've heard me a couple times. I know you've seen it, you haven't responded, but I keep saying science is dead and, math is dead. Yes. Philosophically, that concept is, you reach a historical point when the way humans have made conceptions and concepts and talked about our understanding of knowledge that we're building. I mean, again, we think gravity's out there, but gravity is in us, because we've got nothing but space. We're not really real. And you and I can have, a whole conversation about quantum physics and how difficult it is. It's our language problem. So I can explain why the Big Bang is a wrong theory, but I understand it, but I can't put it, there's no words for me to just basically say, time is only embodied. Time is not the ether. Space-time, there's no time. We humans have had conversations and created time based on how our bodies operate.
Yes. Our heart beating.
The ancient wisdom is so very clear. And then when the printing press came and we sort of really codified one type of language, which was Northern European based, which again was very rigid because we're very cold. We moved up, we were inside in the boxes of the buildings we created. That changed how humans' minds worked. The wiring of your environment. Again, so everyone listening to this, when Debesh started saying dirty in the terms of virus, so neither one of us are talking trash, which is where everyone's mental image in the modern contemporary world went. So we're talking about conditions during the virus in India, the word dirty comes up. Neither one of us care about taboo, right? And there were three meanings. The meaning that was in the brain of everyone else was in the terms of, trash. The meaning Debesh was talking about was in the chaos, and again, back to the vibration, into there's so much going on. And then Deb is saying, well, it's really dirty in the sense of our man-made pollutions. We have been self-extincting ourselves because we just didn't see the ramifications of industrialization. And you mostly couldn't until about 1980. What happened in 1980s is computing. The exponentializing of off-sourcing thinking to machines means that now no one human really understands enough broadly to see the perspective to say, this is affecting this, is causing this. This is all I'm doing. As sort of evolutionary as this recording has been, if you can, and again, Debesh, you know, it's safe. This knowledge is safe because, first of all, they have to be smart enough to keep up with us. This is not, this is two masters. This is a Socrates Plato going back and forth and back and forth. Please talk.
Okay. I got one point about the economics. I read a book and also have seen one lecture. So later I will share you. It says that economics says that money increase. They have the calculation. Mm-hmm. They have the money, like nowadays the cryptocurrencies. Even now we don't bother about any paper currency. So yeah. It increases. They have like we keep something in the bank and it is also in a concept, something is there in the bank and it is increasing. Mm-hmm. Day by day it is increasing, but the resources of the earth is not increasing, it is decreasing. Means money increases, but energy decreases. So one day there will be money, but we won't have any food or oil to be purchased. So economics will continue with the calculations, mathematical, like guessing theory and other things, statistical theory, but the resources will be exhausted and there will be no food, no oil. We have only money.
You are 100% correct. I love how you stated it. So you've brought people back into like out of Deb craziness and into Deb strategicness. I love how I just could use the same name. It's yes. I mean, it's again, nice, same. We are the same person.
Yes.
Fundamentally, as nuggets of consciousness who, with radically different life experiences, are here to help the world survive in our own ways, right? Contributing where we are, but also in the fact that we just met and became friends. That now there is created. This conversation saves the world. This is a world-saving conversation. In that even if it's just one or two or three other humans who come along with us, it's like, I mean, really, both of us should be just like, what the hell's going on? But we've been preparing for this. We understand what's going on, is we're basically having a back and forth of vibrations. And we're reading each other now so much better that we can see and hear, but we did it for 5 years just in text. That there was a mutual respect and admiration for the brain, and then understanding how that brain was seated in its environment. There are differences that where we couldn't quite follow each other, we just kept investing the time to go, well, what's his perspective? What's her perspective? And that it is, you know, a female in the US and an Indian male is quite important, because what we've done is uniting extremes. And then we're really in the center of doing good for humanity, because we own and respected each other's complete and other differences. I mean, this really should not be the first conversation between two humans. In the way, when we had precedent, we think there's all of this that must happen to have, basically, we are both in our subconsciouses right now. We've turned off judgment, we've turned off worry, we're really, you know, intellectuals, creative.
We are free in mind to speak, think, or whatever coming to in front of us, in our mind.
And of course, that safety with each other, we know it's being recorded with the intention of being shared.
Yes.
Very astutely. We want no viral. Again, both of us can tell you that we used to have a very nice distribution on LinkedIn. We had the size of distribution we wanted. We had an audience 5 years ago that was magical. Now we're getting single-digit distribution.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
told it's the quality of our content.
Yes.
No, it's that we're not popular.
Yes.
It's right now, the reason social media is what it is it's simply a numbers game. Back to what you
Yes. Yes.
said about currency keeps increasing, but there's a
Yes.
finite amount of human attention to play the game.
Yes.
So there
Yes.
are these people who just say, oh, it was so easy for me to win, you can too.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the variable of time has guaranteed you cannot. Only
Yes.
those first few people, so again,
Yes.
the first few influencers, they remain
Yes.
static.
Yes.
Apart from the magical Bridget Hyacinth, no other human can achieve influencer status from their own hard work. But yet, people are making money, the fraudsters. Talk about snake oil. Talk about...
Yes. No, here I have one point. Even influencer from common class of the members, only those contents are favored which support LinkedIn. So considering this person or that person, their contents are supporting LinkedIn. So that is why they are favored. There is some preferential choice in the goods, like good. This is good, that is good. But whether our algorithm, our policy likes this good, then we'll promote. Otherwise, if this good is actually finding some errors of our system, then we will not promote. So that's maybe a reason.
I'll jump in and tell you what, my friend. I think that's a conspiracy theory that's not true. Now, allowing that there is a certain population that when you're a paid customer, but I actually think that the bulk of it is non-intentional and it's unseen. That it is simply because the people who keep getting thumbs up, now emojis, there's just comment after comment of nothing but emojis, absolutely no value. Stealing human life force. The bulk of these comments for the popular people are useless, utterly nonsense. And when you have comments like the two of us put that are really considered, we've said, hey, we're gonna really waste 5 minutes of our life knowing that only a handful of people are gonna read it. That's because you and I were creating this dynamic of the evolution of conversation. Isn't it really strange that Jeffrey wrote an article calling me the queen of commenting that people can find in fall 2015? You see, yes. It's the feminine is now the third. The masculine used to be 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this is again the way I hashtag this and just write to people is I can prove 1 + 1 = 3. There's a math of life. And there is plain old counting math, which got really complex. I mean, it's great stuff. I'm not saying in any way that I discount it. I don't believe it. I know I'm 100% with there. My fiance was a PhD in math in Britain. Okay, I respect math. But as a philosopher, math is dead. Again, we've talked about currency. We've talked about social media influence. It's all mechanical. It's just numbers that can increase. And the finite amount of food resources on the surface of the globe, as Debesh talked about, the finite amount of human attention, we're extincting our species from notifications. And right now, Google, I'm fucking upset. And LinkedIn's doing it too. There's now these things down in the left-hand corner that you must click away. They're absolutely ridiculously stupid notifications. Copied this to the clipboard. I know I did it. There's a thing that I must now take and move my mouse to make it go away. Y'all, Satya, again, Bezos, Gates, Satya, I'm right here. I'm basically saying they need to give me $3 million to the Wellbeing Philosophy Institute, which is a nonprofit global good. Here's our mission written down, and this is date time stamped on the internet from a few days ago. Clear thinking is a global necessary public good. So I'm not asking for money because I want to buy a McMansion. I'm asking for money to change education. So this is one of Debesh's last posts. How does education change? I've been pondering it in my subconscious. This is complete. This whole conversation is obviously complete improv, complete stream of consciousness. We had no preparation for showing up here. Okay.
Yes, it is all extempore. And as you say, 1 + 1 is 3. I may think that 1 + 1 may be even more. We don't know. 1
Well,
+
see,
1.
that's part of my stand-up act. People
1
usually,
+ 1 will be more than 2.
Well, it most clearly
Always more
four.
than 2. It can be 3, 4, 5, even more.
So from
like we can create wealth for many people.
Yes. Do you see? It's so profound. No, people. I really, you're the first human who's reflected back to me how profound it is. That once you go, okay, I can accept that 1 + 1 is 3. If your attention's not distracted, if you don't go off and have to click away buttons, right? I'm literally acting to distract him. I'm demonstrating in our embodiment. I was trying to distract him by really giving Google an action item to fucking stop with all these notifications on my Gmail and LinkedIn too. Reid Hoffman, $3 million, please. Philosopher to philosopher. You could be having Reid. You wouldn't pay any attention to me. Debesh paid an incredible amount of attention to me, which is why he got to have this conversation. So Reid, put your money where your hopeful heart is. And masters of scale is precisely what we're talking about. Money is in computers. So I had veered off from when I brought 1980 into the picture. When the computational power just got and we trusted it. We trust the computations, so now the arbitrage of all of the complex finance. No human can really conceive of these numbers very big. We can't really embody it, and it's now just it's invention. The reason fraud is rampant is they're inventing the rules of the game that they're trying to win as they're playing it. Philosophy is really powerful, y'all.
Of course. And yes, and maybe end this discussion with a very positive note. What do you say?
Please.
What is a one line you can say about?
Look, you will be fine if you trust your body. Keep your body operating well. Make decisions that do not jeopardize your body, whether it's from the virus, whether it's from having arguments with your neighbors, whether it's spending too much time absorbing the crap from the internet. Make your own health your first priority, and you will be like this. Okay, you might not have all of you won't have had the experience of consuming all of the knowledge I did. But you'll start feeling like this. You'll see the hopefulness. You'll see, I don't have to spend an hour being financially stressed about all my creditors. Because literally, American Express decimated my credit just because they wanted to. At the time when I needed to, perhaps save my life. Just cause I haven't not paid them, or just cause they think I'm not gonna eventually in the future have enough money to pay back this amount of debt. They reduced the amount I could. Yeah, because again, like so you see, like I've not lost my train of thought. This is the embodiment of financial stress. I started to have trouble expressing myself when I have not done so for 57 previous minutes. Our bodies take over. That's a demonstration again that when you have a stress, even if you're not paying attention to it, you're not recording yourself and you're not performing in a really high level way, that stress stops your brain from completing its train of thought. And that's happening to us again and again and again. So your mental health is job one, then your physical health, and then it's a circuit. It is a circuit, y'all. You have to keep improving. It's homeodynamic. You have to keep, okay, you've solved one problem, your body goes, and now, again, it's 59 minutes. you know, I'm losing the capacity to talk because my mouth is dry.
No,
So,
okay, we have talked enough, I think.
yes,
Maybe we can, yes.
there'll
If
be
if you,
another one. It is
yes, yes,
an
yes.
honor to meet you. You are so,
I am also honored to have discussions and having some insights from you. And let us hope that we can reinvent our life and the life of the future generations.
well, we're working together as friends
Yes, of course.
on
Of
opposite, you know,
yes,
spaces of the globe. So
yes, yes,
I
yes,
will see you around the commenting section.
yes, of course. Okay, thanks.
Goodbye, Devesh.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.